name is Duncan Clark. I'm chairman of BDA China. We're an advisory firm helping investors and companies in the telecom media technology area, particularly in the Chinese and Asian markets, with offices in Beijing and in New Delhi. Yeah, I think this is the 5th annual CHINICT. BDA's been around for 15 years. So we've been around since, obviously, before the internet sort of existed here. But we saw the second wave, if you will. The first wave was, like everywhere, in 99, 2000. But China really started coming back when I think CHINICT started out with the growth of SMS and then online games and other things. And now it's really a very large industry where we see BDA is projecting revenues in the online games area of $10 billion within 5 years, etc. So, this is now a mainstream sector from a very niche sector, 10 years ago. And so I think CHINICT has been following that progression. Well, number one, of course, China's scale. China is now the largest internet population in the world. It's the largest broadband population in the world. The second aspect, it's always been a piracy-rife environment. So we've never seen a very large traditional music or video industry, for example. So the combination of those two, large amount of people online, very little money being made in traditional media through, for example, CDs and DVDs, etc. This is a very interesting combination. So online games specifically meld the two, where you see a huge number of people playing online, upwards of 100 million regular gamers now who are paying to play. And so this new interactive model. Another example would be Tencent, which previously in other countries, SMS or MSN style instant messaging was a fairly generic application, but Tencent has built a whole portal around that, and the company's now worth around $18 billion to the surprise of many, to a point that Tencent is now worth 2/3 of China Unicom. So the growth of content here, interactive content, has surprised many. We're not talking about radical innovation in China. We're talking about adapting existing technologies to the Chinese situation. That's working just fine for companies like Tencent. Yeah, basically, look at what Google's doing with its music in China. It's free. Google has partnered with the 4 major record labels to offer free music. Now, obviously, it's advertising supported, but the labels are saying, well, we might as well get something rather than nothing. They're getting nothing right now. The sort of legitimate music market in China is down to a few $1 million, if that. So they're saying, why not? Compete, obviously, with Baidu, which has been providing links to pirated music, although they claim that's themselves not being a pirate. But the fact is, Google, which doesn't like to be number 2, is saying, well, let's embrace this new business model. And we're seeing similar things happening in the US with Hulu and others. By putting content, advertising-supported content online and accessing a huge market, you can potentially tackle this piracy issue. I'm more optimistic now about Google with this. Empowering local management in China is key. One of the big challenges we've seen for US-based internet companies, such as whether it be eBay or Microsoft or Yahoo operating online, is empowering local managers to make decisions quickly, because they're facing some very nimble competitors, such as the way eBay has taken a big hit from Jack Ma and Taobao, for example. Taobao's eBay plus Amazon model is now, I think it's half of all the transactions on eBay Taobao is achieving that amount of volume. So I think it's all about empowering local decision makers. Yes, regulations are tricky, particularly in the content area. It's not easy for Western news or media companies to operate in China. But often I think that's a bit of an excuse. It's often the entrepreneurial challenge from well-capitalized local entrepreneurs. Private equity is in love with this country now, given what's happened, some very successful exits. Baidu, one example, is trading at very, very high multiples. So I think how to challenge it is you've just got to take on and learn from this market. And I think maybe we'll see the Google China music experiment going global. That might be the way forward for the music industry.